Okay, we're gonna try this again. Okay, so my mom was my digital immigrant, and I asked her just a few questions. The first one I asked her was basically, what is the main difference between communication back in her day compared to now? Um, right off the bat, she started with technology, and of course, how quickly we can just text someone or call someone with our cell phones. Um, Cell phones weren't there as yet for her. Um, but she made a point that then she had to plan to see somebody, and if they saw you today, they didn't see the need to call you later, because when they saw each other, the communication was there. They said what needed to be said, and if they were going to see each other again, they planned it, and it was like, I'm going to see you 5 o'clock 2 days from today, and they stick with that. So I think I found that kind of interesting, and I also found out that apparently my grandmother didn't really want a house phone. And I was like, huh? But it's just a house phone. But she was like, back then, um, you know, they didn't see the need in the bill, for one, which is the main reason. And then once again, you saw who you needed to speak to throughout the day. So when you went home, you were more concerned about your family and what's going on with you. So you didn't need to sit down and talk to anybody else. You had stuff to do. Um, so I found that kind of interesting. So from that, I asked her, you know, I thought it'd be interesting to ask her what is her favorite form of communication due to the fact that they didn't have the technology back then. She said, I think it's, she said face to face, and she said because I think, um, she said she thinks we take advantage of the fact that we have, everything at the palm of our hand, and when they had to see somebody and plan it, we're more spontaneous with it, and I think that's the connection I kind of made from it. That back then there were probably a tad bit more time, managed, and more considerate of people's time, because if I plan to see you, I'm gonna do that, and they stuck with it. And compared to now, where I can text my friends and like see you in a half an hour, like just let's go get a drink or something. So I think we're way more spontaneous than they used to be, and found that kind of interesting too. Also, I asked her like what was their, major mass media. They definitely depended on the radio, and I don't know if this is just in the Virgin Islands or everywhere, but she told me they only have one news station at the time. So when they looked at television, it was mainly for that, the news. And other than that, it wasn't really more of an entertainment source, but more for news. The radio was their major information system, and that's where they got everything from. As far as newspapers and magazines, they could have just, like us, go to the store and get it. She did say there weren't newsstands, like magazine stands, where there are now. Like you had to go to a store to get a magazine. So I thought that was interesting. Um, and I also asked her what's her, you know, biggest thing now. Like why does she think it's so hard for her to adapt to technology? And because my mom is not she's not techno savvy, if you will, at all. She has an iPhone. She loves it, but every day is a learning experience. She calls me about every day to try to figure out something. Um, but her thing is, um, it just takes. It's kind of like, because she's not used to it, it's not fun, and she thinks that's all the phone is. The cell phone is for fun, and there's no real, there's too much tricks and flips to the whole thing, and she doesn't like it. So I asked her, she likes face to face, and she also brought up that the health concerns of using a cell phone is it's weird to her. She doesn't want to bother with the radiation and the other stuff that they say cell phones can cause. So that's one of the reasons why she's kind of not 100% into learning about the cell phone. But other than that, yeah, my mom was my digital immigrant, and we are more spontaneous than they were. They were definitely more time managed.